Back by popular demand, recording after school hours for you once again. Today, I'll be reading to you a slightly morbid title of a chapter, but one that I think uplifts. I'm channeling my inner Force ghost today. Today's chapter is titled, Read Them Their Own Obituary. What we'll be talking about in this chapter are things like answering the questions in life, what is my legacy? Realizing your own self-worth, and live every day. Every morning I pick up my newspaper, get the obituary section, and see if I'm listed. If I'm not, I'll have my breakfast. It's a great quote from a great comedian, Carl Reiner. Heck, I don't mean to sound morbid, but consider writing your own obituary right now. Think about the standard format. Age, birth date, hometown. To a degree, it starts to sound like a baseball card or something. But then obituaries get into the guts, life accomplishments, family and friends, compliments, impact, and accolades. Ever since I was young, I would listen to people speak about the deceased at wakes, funerals, after parties, and I always wondered, did the deceased know these things while they were alive? In this life, did they know how special and important they were to the people around them? If they didn't know these things, might they have acted differently in their mortal state? You ought to write your own obituary and see how it reads. I hope you still know that you can edit that while you're still here. You ought to also write an obituary about your friends and loved ones. Once you've written it, you can take the highlights and share them with the people you love. It might be important to let them know how you feel about them and what they mean to you. Bottom line, let the people you care about know that you care about them and remind them often. More importantly, live your life every day. In a radical sense, start living like you know you're going to die. It's crazy to consider saying this, and it may seem a bit uncouth hearing this now, but this sounds pessimistic and dark and morbid, but imagine, if you will, you were just told you have 6 months to live. What would you do? How would you react? What would you want to do? How would your perceptions, wants, needs, and priorities change? Ask yourself, what are the things on my short list that I have got to do before I die? Think about the things that you need to do, the fences you need to mend, the messages people need to hear from you before they die. Why wait? Why must it make a proclamation or realization of your own impending doom for you to finally get inspired to do things that you have to do? Why not live like there is no tomorrow? This, I admit, is cliche, but it is absolutely necessary to attempt a fulfilled and happy life. Think about the liberating feeling it must be, to a degree, to live as if you only have 6 months to live, knowing you have longer than 6 months to live. There is no finality, but there is also an awareness of what is important. Adopt the mentality that every day and every minute is precious. Quote, enjoy every sandwich. That's a quote from Warren Zevon on Late Night with David Letterman, discussing life after his terminal mesothelioma diagnosis. My recurring question in this stream of consciousness is, why must you wait until you know you are going to die to start living? In essence, we all know that we're going to die. Everybody's given a death sentence the day you're born. It's just a matter of time. And nobody knows how much time you have until you're told you have a terminal illness. It's all an educated guess. Why wait until it's too late? Why push those things off? As I mentioned prior, I am a procrastinator. I often push things off and say things like, we'll do it next time. A great reminder to counter my pessimism was deciding to spend a ridiculous amount of money on a dessert party in Walt Disney World. To make a long story short, my grandma loved Tinkerbell, Disney fireworks, and watching Tinkerbell fly out of Cinderella Castle in Walt Disney World. When I was a kid, we used to watch for free at the Tomorrowland Terrace Cafe. Tink would fly right over us. Years later, when my grandma was 83 and still coming to Disney with my family and her great-grandsons, we decided to book a dessert party at the Tomorrowland Terrace Cafe. Disney capitalized on a great moneymaker there. We had tasty desserts. We watched Happily Ever After. We enjoyed the music, the lights, the fireworks, and of course, Tinkerbell. My grandma was so thrilled after the show, she shot up out of her seat and kissed me. She was so grateful that we did this for her. This was not a priority of mine on our trip, but I knew how much she would appreciate it. I'm glad we did it, because a little over a year later, my grandmother passed away. Little did any of us know that that would be her last trip to Disney World. So thankful I didn't push that off until the next trip. Look, I get it. You can't go on expensive vacations all the time, and you can't go everywhere you need to go. It takes time, savings, and planning, but you should try it. In the meantime, you can know what can you do. Live your best life every day and tell the people that you love them. Make sure people know the things that they need to know before you're gone. I've always wondered why we have to wait until that moment, and it's a constant bother of mine. It's a constant stressor to make sure that I get everything done that I need to get done before I pass along. It's a huge fear that I'm going to die before I accomplish all the things I want to accomplish. So you know what? Start taking those things off your list and make life a little bit easier on yourself by easing your burdens. Cross those things off your list and reevaluate your priorities from time to time. Take care of the things that you need to take care of before it's too late. Live like you have a death sentence. Because I hate to break the news to you, you actually do. I still have a lot of life left, and I have many things I want to achieve. And if I were to have any impact on my own obituary, no matter what level of success I would ever reach in my life, when I'm gone, I truly hope that my sons say I was a great dad. I hope my wife feels like I was the best husband she could have had. I hope my friends say I was a great friend. I hope my former teammates or players say I was a great teammate or coach. So far, I think I like my chances. But I know from experience, when you play with a lead, keep playing offense and don't play not to lose. In short, continue to be the best you can be and do not get complacent. One of the things I'm proudest of is having a man who's served in Vietnam tell me that he'd get in a foxhole with me. To get a compliment like that from somebody who actually served in Vietnam is a major achievement for me. It provided me with proof that I was living up to what I wanted to be as a person. To be acknowledged like that was humbling and gratifying, because that truly is what I want people to think of me. I pride myself on people knowing I'm here for you. I'll do whatever I need to do for you, and I am going to be loyal. I'm going to make you laugh when you need to laugh, and I'm going to push you when you need to be pushed. I guess in truth, my goal in life is to be a good teammate. I also hope that people realize that I know I'm no more important than the people around me. In essence, I guess some of the words I wish to be remembered for are kind, funny, selfless, loyal, smart, dependable, team player. I'm inspired to write this passage also because I have heard students of mine, among others, often say, "Nobody appreciates you until you're gone." This is the line of thinking I'm trying to improve and possibly eradicate from your mental monologue. Hearing anybody, especially young adults, say this scares me. To me, the loss of self-worth in the darkness and thinking, "Nobody appreciates me until I'm gone," it's all wrong. It's so emotionally damaging. In fact, in most cases, it is far from the truth. We need to stop assuming that everyone feels appreciated and remind them once in a while how we feel. We need to also reflect on what the world would look like and the void that would be created if we were not here. My argument is this: People who do it the right way every day without being noticed need an incentive. We need to feel invested in, and we need to be reminded we too are valued and important. Not for a week, not for a day, not by lip service and photo opportunities, but for real, permanently. Oftentimes, the loudest or the weakest get the emphasis and or attention, and the majority of us are left alone, without representation. This is how people get lost in the shuffle. This is how people get taken for granted. To a degree, and with most of my teaching and coaching strategies, concepts build upon each other or are linked in some way. To me, writing your own obituary is a pathway to learning how do I change things, and even broader, what do you want? By writing your own obituary, you're forcing yourself to look in a mirror. And in this case, you can alter the image in a positive and healthy way by taking that long, hard look at yourself and being willing to make the change to get your answer. Oftentimes, people sell themselves short on how valuable they are to the people around them. Your victories, losses, and experiences are sometimes shared by more than you know. Could be a friend, relative, perhaps even long-lost co-worker, peer, or cordial acquaintance. Knowing how important you are to the people around you and how much of a void you fill for the world is decidedly essential for you to be aware of. It is not overstated to believe within yourself that the world absolutely would be a different place without you in it. Reflect upon that as a confidence boost and a motivator to make the best of every day. Getting in touch with that reflective side of yourself can be liberating. It can be the push to get you to admit things to yourself that you were unable or unwilling to in your past. It can also change you to a point of healthy vulnerability to let others around you know how you feel. It is, to a degree, the shedding of the mentality that I don't need anybody, or I can do this myself, or I got this. No, you actually don't. And it actually really severely impacts the people around you that love you and your negative ways. Things that go unsaid really need to be said sometimes. I've gone out of my way to make those changes with the people around me, whom I care about. I was able to tell my grandmother exactly how I felt about her before she passed away. I was able to tell her how great of a grandma she was to me and how much I loved her. I also told her if I was half the grandparent that she and my papa were to me, I'd be a wild success. I know she knows too. She was awake and making eye contact with me. I saw in her eyes how much what I was saying meant to her. It was a good place to end our earthly relationship before we meet again on the other side. That moment was great for both of us in so many ways. She was content to let go. We both got closure, and we connected one last time in a very loving and positive way. I felt just as strongly about my grandfather, but I did not get a chance to tell him any of those things, and it haunted me deeply until recently. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this chapter called Write Your Own Obituary. And if you like more, keep watching and I'll keep reading. Until next time, good luck, and may the force be with you.